Hey, welcome everybody. Hey, I'm so glad that you're here. Hey, my name is Keith Jones, and I got the privilege today to showcase a real estate investor's spotlight today. This is going to be a really good one. Hey, I want to thank Scott Buckles and y'all for allowing me to step in. I truly believe that this is a privilege to be able to do this, and because this is one of these events that really helped me to really move forward of when it calls real estate investing. Why? Because you get to ask questions of people who actually doing what you really want to do, and they get to take their time out to share. And so if you have pen and paper, you want to go ahead and write this down. If you are moving out, you really want to take some time and just actually pausing, because they got some videos, they got some pictures, and they're just want to share and pour into you. Because we was always at that one point, one day we want to do something. Well, their one day became day one, and they actually are doing what they really wanted to do. Now they got a story they want to share, so you can see what we're going to talk about as short-term rentals, but there could be some other stuff they want to share too. So you definitely want to pay attention. So I'm gonna stop sharing that, and I just want to say, Tom and Ash, thank you for coming out today to be able to share. I mean, y'all all over the place. I'm in Virginia, y'all.
Keith, you're muted again.
Yeah, I got I got muted again. Oh man, y'all should have heard it. It was awesome. Everything I said was just like on point. I mean, I had tears coming out of my eyes. But anyway, hey, welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. When it comes to real estate investing, this is what helps me get started. And I'm not going to take too much time because I was muted for a second. But I want to say thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ash, for actually taking your time out, because y'all both are busy, because you about to tell us where you actually are at, and really kind of show us and kind of tell us why. So if you don't mind introducing yourself, because we got people from all over the place of the United States. If you don't mind coming out, telling us where you are, introducing yourself, and kind of tell us why you actually got started in real estate investing.
Ash, you want to kick us off?
All right, I'll get started. Hi everyone. Thank you, Keith, and thank you, Yaz, for hosting us again. So I got started with this group 2.5 years ago, but my journey in real estate actually started as a child. My dad owned a multifamily property, and that's where he lived as a bachelor and rehabbed the place and met my mom, and then that's the building where I was born. And I grew up going there, knocking on the door, collecting rent, and pulling out carpet and spackling walls. And my dad teaching me that someday this property would be yours, that someday I would be able to live there rent free. And he taught me that mindset until I was about 12. And then he passed away. And so I lost access to that knowledge. But I did have that seed implanted that someday I was going to do something with real estate. And then someone who was a member of this community knew my story and introduced me to this community. And I discovered the knowledge that I was missing to do real estate someday and to actually get involved, hands-on, learn, and get to it. And so here I am, 2.5 years later, and Tom and I have multiple short-term rentals, and we've done a commercial deal, and sky's the limit now.
Wow, wow. So, so where are you actually right now, physically?
So I'm actually at our community office that we help run in Denver, Colorado.
Awesome, awesome. So you got started because somebody in your family and your father, and that's really awesome. But then there was a gap, and then
Mhm.
when you started, how did it make you feel when you started to actually move forward? That when you started to close that gap that you had.
Really relieved. I am someone who's never been like great at being your typical employee. My first job out of college, I had one W-2 job out of college, and then I became a freelancer. And I've been an entrepreneur. I've been in startup boot camps, been a part of different startup companies, and real estate definitely gave me a path to continue as an entrepreneur, but in a more lucrative way.
Awesome, awesome. So that you feel like you in your passion, you actually doing the thing that you really was destined to do.
I really do. You know, I'm surprised how many of my previous skills in my employment and just different skills I've picked up over the years really come together in this space. It's a place where you can really thrive at things that you're talented at.
Awesome, awesome. Because there's a lot of people like today who may come in and says, I always wanted, I heard about it, maybe like an uncle or aunt or somebody who was kind of show them, but they didn't really teach them. And so when you became part of the community, you kind of closed that gap and you felt like you was right at home. So again, I will say thank you for being here and sharing. And Tom, what about you?
Well, it's certainly a pleasure to be here. I got introduced to this group a little over 8 years ago, and I knew sort of conceptually that real estate investing was an important it was important. I actually became a real estate agent for a couple of years at one point because I thought, if I become a real estate agent, then I'll be in the industry and that'll give me access to learning how to do real estate investing. The idea of having real estate pay for my life was attractive, but to your point, I didn't actually know how to do that. And what I discovered is that Remax doesn't teach their sales agents real estate investing. And I would work with investors and I'd say, hey, tell me how to do what you do. And they would say, shut up, kid, and fill out like, do your job. Right? Like, I don't have time to teach you. I'm running my own business over here. And I actually was pretty disillusioned. I went to a number of different, I went to a 3-day boot camp. I went to, monthly investor meetings. And it was just like, I felt like no one actually wanted to help me learn. They just wanted to figure out how to get their hands into my pocketbook. Right. And so I was pretty disillusioned and kind of like Ash, I'm not very good at working for other people. I actually discovered in 2012 that I'm psychologically unemployable. So I've started a variety of businesses, and a little over 8 years ago, I had a catastrophic business failure. And a lot of people had similar experiences in 2008. Mine was a little bit later than that, but I found myself sleeping on an air mattress in a drafty Chicago apartment, like at the pit financially in my business life. And a friend of mine called me and said, "Hey, let's do real estate investing." And I'm standing in a crappy apartment. I look over at my air mattress and I just hung up on him. I was like, that's rude. That's rude asking somebody in my situation or suggesting to somebody in my situation that we do real estate investing. Like, what a fortunately he was a good friend of mine, and he kept after me and got me on the phone with Bob Tierney, who's one of our community leaders in Chicago. And I told him I'd give him 15 minutes to hear whatever the sales pitch is for this real estate community. And an hour and 45 minutes later, still on the phone, and I was like, okay, so what you're saying is that this is a nationwide community of people that care about each other, that are creating environments and opportunities for people to grow and develop as entrepreneurs, as independent business owners. There's a phrase that you hear around our community, be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And what I discovered was an environment and a community that's really committed to supporting people's growth and development. So when I first got started, I was in a financial situation where all I could do was pay attention to myself and my own situation. But since then I've been a part of dozens of renovations. I'm in St. Louis right now. I live in Denver, but I'm in St. Louis checking on a couple short-term rentals that we manage here. Yesterday I was in Decatur, Illinois, checking on some long-term rentals that we have there. We're working on our first commercial project. We're scheduled to set up our 19th short-term rental coming up here. Like, that's a completely different landscape, and that's all fun. But Ash mentioned that she's at the spot where we support our community in Denver, and really for me now the opportunity to empower other people to learn how to liberate themselves.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
It's really inspiring.
Because what's really neat is somebody saw something in both of y'all, right? That says there's greatness. And sometimes it is hard for us to see the greatness in ourselves. That takes somebody else to kind of say there's something there inside of you. Like everybody who's on tonight, even like myself, somebody saw greatness, right? And again, I retired from the military, busy, busy, busy. So if everybody's kind of listening to what's happening, and there's different spectrum of folks who really want to do real estate investing. You fit somewhere in that middle of that spectrum, and there's somebody who believes that you can do this, and that's what I liked about this community too, just like both of y'all. And that's interesting. So y'all in two different locations, but we're going to talk about this one property that y'all have,
Yeah.
which is a short-term rental. So how did y'all even come up about this short-term rental that you're going to show us today?
This one is a family property. This is a house actually my mom bought to move into, and then she had some stuff come up, and she was like, "Hey, I can't. Uh, I'm just not going to move into it." And it had some uh, structural issues and a couple things, and she's like, "Can you figure out how to make this property work and make money?" And one thing that, if you're on the line here and you're brand new, you're surrounded by, there are real estate challenges all over the place. There are people in your life that have real estate challenges. So one of the great things about developing the skill and the knowledge to solve real estate problems is, first of all, we get paid really well for solving real estate problems, but also then you become a resource to people in your life. So this is a property that was a problem for somebody that I care about, and she said, "Can you handle it?" And we said, "Well, of course we can." That's what we do. Um, so this is in Mountain View. Mountain View, Colorado is the northwest corner of Denver, essentially. And one of the things that's really nice is that Denver has strict short-term rental regulations, but Mountain View is its own city. It's 8 blocks. The city's this big. It's got 450 people, but it's got a mayor, it's got a police department, it's got its own court system. It's its own city.
Wow.
The Wild West. And they're completely up for short-term rentals. So, you want to jump in and take a look at this?
Yeah, yeah. And as you kind of get ready there, again, I want to just welcome everybody who had just came on board. We have two rock stars here that's going to talk about their short-term rentals. And so one of the things I like that part was the confidence that you had when your mother was like, "Hey, I have a problem." By that time, you already had solved multiple problems before, right? And so that's one of the things that I hope a lot of people here today. As a real estate investor, you solve problems, and we learn to solve problems. And if you want, like, well, I really want to learn how to do that, well, you can. Like right after this, there's another meeting that you can attend to. Just ask the person about that link, and then they can get you taken care of. But I really want you to listen to what actually and the nuggets that they're dropping today to help you like go from one day I'm going to do it to day one. So if you don't mind, go ahead and showing us that property.
Absolutely. And when we were invited to participate in this, I wanted to show off this property because I think it's one that, can you see Depew Street, Tom and Ash? You see my screen? Yeah, good. This is a style of deal that really, it's pretty easy to get into, and we've got some great training. I think this is probably the fastest kind of deal that most people can do to get into a situation where they're doing real estate investing and generating some monthly cash flow. Because a lot of people in the United States right now don't love their job. And if they didn't need the money, they wouldn't be doing the thing that they're doing. So how do we get out of that? How do we get out of the rat race? How do we get out of that trap? So first of all, we're going to talk about some financial stuff and money and things. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. We're not sharing this in the license capacity. We're not trying to raise money. We're not trying to do anything that would irritate any government officials. Please don't take anything that we say, do something irresponsible, and then sue us for it. Deal? Okay, great. So actually, I'm going to skip ahead and do this. Can you see the photos?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is one thing that I love about this property is it's actually two houses in one. So we have a front house, and in a moment, I'm going to show you a video tour that Ash put together last night. So you'll get to actually walk through this property. But the front house is this beauty. And it did not look like this, Keith, when we first got it. Um, this is a house that had somebody living in it for 40 years who didn't take great care of it. Now, most of the challenges were cosmetic, but this flooring in here is new. This is a back sunroom that was just kind of a mess. So we had to replace the flooring, clean up the paint, do some cosmetic work, a cute little galley kitchen. And this house we've had on Airbnb, we've been short-term renting this one for 4 months now. And it's averaging almost $3,000 in gross revenue. This is a king size bedroom. This is the second bedroom. Kitchen, we totally redid. If you leave someone who doesn't clean well in a bathroom, sorry, if you leave someone who doesn't clean well living in a bathroom for 40 years, you might just going to go ahead and tear that whole thing out and put in a new one. So this is a cute little house. This garden in front, Ash put in and spent a couple of days putting it in, and then spent weeks harvesting, 14,000 pounds of zucchinis. That might be an exaggeration, but it doesn't feel like it. Gallons of tomatoes. So that was a lot of fun. So this is the front house. And if you walk down the path and around back, then you get to this cute little place. So this is a ADU, and it's an auxiliary dwelling unit. It's a standalone cottage in the back. It's 197 square feet, and people love it, and it's booked all the time. So this one we've had actually a little over a year, and this tiny little cottage in the back is averaging a little over $2,000 a month.
Whoa, wait, okay. All right, let me make sure I'm tracking.
Yeah.
So two properties, one location.
Yeah.
The one in the back, the one you're showing us, you've been renting it out for about a year. And then the one in the front, like 4 months.
Just about 4 months.
And then you have the garden in the back. Do you allow like the guests to, participate in the garden?
They are definitely welcome to harvest.
Oh, wow.
It's really fun.
And if y'all have questions, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. This is live. And so,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I have plans to xeriscape the rest of the yard this summer.
wow.
Yeah, we don't want to take care of yard maintenance.
So
You let your guests go ahead and select their own.
That's right. That's right. The feature of the property.
yeah, so it's two houses on one property. This is my favorite. So we did this also in East Denver. We found a house with another house in the back, and this is like house hacking, right? So when my mom first was looking at this property, we knew right from the get-go that the back house was going to be a short-term rental because it helps cover the note, helps pay for the mortgage, right? So 2 houses on one property. The main house is a 3-bed, 1-bath. We'll talk about this in a little bit more detail. We're currently advertising it as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The ADU is just this little standalone cottage in the back. So when we took over the property, we needed to update the existing bathroom. We needed to update the appliances. We painted the house interior. We did some new flooring, refinished. Some of the floors were in good shape. We were able to refinish those. And our current plan is to add a second bathroom upstairs. And we started doing the renovation for that, and then found out that there were some foundation issues. So we did have to pivot for a bit and put money that we were going to put into a bathroom into keeping the house from falling over. Priorities.
Good idea.
And in the ADU in the back cottage, we put in new flooring. Let me show that again. Put in new flooring, painted it, and added a vanity. That was this vanity right here. So
So,
that was,
so Tom, one of the questions are kind of coming in is like they really like the property, and they were saying like what's the major attraction nearby? Like what would draw people to that area?
that's such a good question because we've hosted property. There's a house that we host in Parker, which is south of Denver. And we were speaking to the homeowner before taking it over as a short-term rental. And he was like, sure, I like the idea of having my house be a short-term rental, but there's nothing around. Why would anybody ever come to Parker? And everywhere in the United States, people have parents. People go visit, people get married, people go to funeral. There's anywhere that you go, there's some demand for hotel rooms for short night stays. So we've never heard of a place that doesn't work for short-term rentals. There are places that have regulations that prohibit it, and so in that sense it wouldn't work. But in terms of why would people go there, people go places for all sorts of reasons.
So this particular location is only 10 minutes from downtown Denver, and it's maybe 20 minutes to get to the foothills, to good hiking, to get to Red Rocks, amphitheater, the famous music venue. So it's in a good spot.
Okay. And another question came in and said, somebody's asking about the benefits, because I know that y'all learned the benefits of short-term rentals, but someone's asking, what's the benefits of doing short-term rentals versus just a long-term?
There are a couple things. One is with a long-term rental. So we have long-term rentals in Decatur, Illinois, and one in St. Louis. And with a long-term rental, we turn the building over to the tenants, and we hope that they give it back in decent shape. And with the long-term rentals in Decatur, so far, almost every time we've turned over the house, every time a tenant has left, they've done more damage than their security deposit covers. So it takes less interaction with people, but it has more cost overall to have somebody stay in a house for 12 months. With a short-term rental, we have a cleaning crew come through every 3 to 5 days on average. I mean, every week we've got somebody that is on our team in each property looking for damage, cleaning. So the house that I mentioned in Parker, one of the attractive things for the homeowner is we're going to turn his house back over to him. If we manage that for 5 years, when we turn the house back over to him, it'll be in better shape than it was when he moved out.
So that one you do an arbitrage way.
So that one we're doing, that was a friend. Actually, it's one of the Renatus instructors teaches how to use your brain better, because we weren't actually taught how to do that in school. And when he first started working with our community, he and I got to know each other and we became friends. And he had a problem because he's leaving his house. He has to move somewhere else. He doesn't want to sell the house. He wants to keep it when he comes back. He wants to have it when he comes back, and he wants it to be in good shape because he doesn't want to move back into his own house and feel like someone else has destroyed it.
Right. And so one of the things, because I know a lot of people are like, are you financing it or the owner finance? And so the one thing, or there's multiple things that's actually being said. There are a lot of things that people are actually, what you're hearing is there's multiple strategies that's actually being played out. And so what I already can tell that y'all not just stuck on one strategy, y'all learned multiple strategies because you had to fix up the property, you had to do some negotiations, you understand the difference between this, short-term and long-term, you know how to leverage, others, not just money, but also properties, and to be able to solve problems. And so that's why I like about this community. I think that's probably what y'all also like is that you're not just stuck with one strategy. You never want to be stuck with one strategy. And if you want to learn how to learn other strategies so you don't get, so you won't be stuck, just ask the person who invited you to this meeting and they will get you connected to the information flow. How do we learn? How do we actually get to the point where you're looking at awesome properties like this and to be able to solve problems. So somebody asked, do you have like some before pictures?
Keith, I'm embarrassed to say that we don't have a lot of good before pictures. We have a couple that are pretty impactful. So what I want to do next is take you through the tour that Ash put together, and then we'll show you something really fun that we discovered at the end of that. Fair enough?
Awesome.
Hey everyone, welcome to our short-term rental in Mountain View, which is a suburb near Denver. So I'm going to give you a tour around of the place. So when you walk in the front door, there's an entryway here where we ask people to take off their shoes. This is a very homey location. In fact, we used to live here, and while we were setting it up, we stayed here for a while because there was some construction going on at the house. This cute little piece right here is actually from IKEA, but I stained it and put some washi tape on it to help it fit into the mid-century mod theme we've got going on. And then we bought this nice comfy large sofa here, some eclectic little pieces, comfy chairs to sit, and a table that seats comfortably 6, could squeeze up to 8. Next, I'm gonna show off the bedrooms. This is a 2-bedroom. This wood beam was here on the wall, so I added some hooks to make some space for coats and jackets and things. So this is one of the king bedroom. One feature that we always do in our places is these nightstands have plugs in them, so people can plug in their devices really easily without digging for plugs behind the bed or things like that. And we always put in some kind of touch lamp. Just makes it really easy for the guests. We try to have like some type of wardrobe, little dresser. I find these on Amazon cheap and easy. And then a luggage rack, just some art on the walls, a nice full-length mirror. We always try to do those in the bedrooms. And we also always try to make a king-size bed work when we can. We managed to squeeze a queen-size bed in here. I found these cute little, what are those, side tables that again go with that mid-century theme. We took the doors off of this closet. There were some really dark brown, just flimsy doors here, so we took them off and added these curtains. It's a nice little touch to the wardrobe space. There is only one bathroom in this house right now, but I'll share more about that later. We like to add in these fillable shampoo, conditioner, soap stations. It's a much more affordable and eco-friendly option than the little toss-away items. I added some hooks here on the wall for people to hang their towels in different spots because it's a small bathroom. There are our tax write-off kids on payroll hanging out. They help clean the house sometimes. They've been models in our short-term rentals. This space is really nice because we're able to add a nice great room with a big screen TV. It's got a dedicated office space back here. We also have the laundry. On the first floor here is this kitchen. You can see it's got these mid-century Danish teak cabinets, and they're in pretty decent shape. I mean, they have some wear on them, but this is an old home, and we do say that in the listing, but everything's functional. And we put in this pretty shelf liner to make it feel like clean and taken care of. We always have a Keurig on hand for everybody. And something else we really like to have is a toaster oven. You wouldn't believe how much you actually save on your electricity bill when you offer people a toaster oven instead of having to turn on the gas, especially a gas oven. And then last but not least, crib style. What's in our fridge tonight? We got some LaCroix here, stuff to make my kids some pasta, and some homegrown lion's mane mushrooms. So now I'm going to take you on the real behind the scenes part of the tour. We lived here and started demoing this property because it was a 3-1 and we wanted it to be a 3-2. And there's something really special I'm going to show you upstairs. Let's go. quick before I show you what's up here, imagine when you're coming up the stairs that you're walking into a narrow hallway and there's 2 doors on either side. Not anymore. So there's still a door to the left, and the hallway ended right here, and there used to be a door here to the right. And then right along here, there used to be a wall. And this whole space out there was an attic space. And Tom and my son are up here exploring the house, and down here in this wall, there's a little door. And so Tom and him open the door, and they shine a flashlight in, and they see this huge corridor space. Now we've made it into this funky little cozy beanbag living room with the big screen. That's kind of like a surprise bonus room. We don't advertise it right now. What we're gonna do with this space is we're gonna turn this into the second bathroom and possibly even make this whole upstairs an open ensuite. All right, so currently this is a mess, but this is going to be basically like a master suite bedroom, and we have had a king bed up here. We know we can make it work. What a funky little room, huh? Got this cabinet and this weird trim. And then here, there used to be a built-in twin bed right here that Tom carved out. And that was a closet, which we cut back. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this a built-in closet. So it's just gonna be a lower profile place to hang clothes. And then I'm gonna do some built-in shelving here so people have a place to put their things. We'll paint everything in here, make this more classy, light and bright. Put a nice light fixture in up here, put in a nice, like I said, king size bed, some wall sconce lights on the sides, some little cute nightstands, and it'll be a great little spot up here. So that's our tour, and back to Tom.
Oh, that was awesome. Awesome, man. A lot of vision that I see as y'all, and so when somebody asked a question about, short-term rentals, right? I know for myself, and with our, when our kids were a lot younger, we needed space. So if I can find a place where if I had to be there for some time and my kids could be in one location and I could be in another, that just makes the whole family happy, right? It's when you're in a hotel, yeah, when you're in a hotel room, y'all cramp, like you're like, you needed space. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And the attic was definitely a great find. I agree with Sharon. That definitely was a great find there.
Well, the thing that was so fun about it was we didn't know about it for a couple months. And then you saw the 11-year-old downstairs. We came up and he's like, "What's in that door?" And this was the old wall. And I assumed that this sloped wall right here just like ended. And he got down and looked through the door, and we shined a flashlight and saw that whole other space that had just been closed off. And it gave us a third living room.
So now you have your kids are actually are helping y'all actually expand your real estate portfolio. Exactly. That's really awesome.
Because apparently you can only find the doorway to Narnia if you're a child. So
yeah. And in Mountain View, the square footage price is pretty phenomenal. So we definitely added some good square footage.
Awesome. Yeah. The completion of this renovation we're scheduling hopefully for this summer, and it's going to be between $18,000 and $20,000 to do what we want to do up here, and it's going to increase the short-term rental income by about $1,000 a month, which is a pretty good return.
So not only it was already making money, you found more space.
Yeah,
it's going to generate more revenue for just from a short-term rental perspective, but at the same time, the appreciation of the house itself just skyrocketed.
Yeah, adding that square footage and a bathroom will increase the value of the house by about $75,000.
So that's, you know what? And so the one thing I like about that is because people always trying to time the market, right? They're always trying to time, right? It's not trying to time the market, it's the time in it, right? So because y'all got into it, now time is on your side versus somebody trying to time it and time is against them. And so that's why I liked about this, and I appreciate y'all even just sharing that because of the fact that that has some ideas. Like, you know what? I got some properties. Let me make sure there's any hidden walls that's back. So I'm gonna be looking through. No, hey, what you doing?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm doing an inspection, right? Nice.
bring a child with you because
Exactly. I'm gonna have to borrow a small kid. So anybody got a small kid I can borrow?
Oh,
imagine.
my
Really
son takes Venmo and PayPal.
awesome. Awesome.
Well, and Keith, there's something you're pointing to. Um, we're not taught in school how this stuff works, right? So when we increase equity on one of our properties, for example, we're increasing our net worth. So we're shifting the value of something in a way that increases the future value of our life, but there's no tax on that. There's no, right? There's when um we were just talking about this yesterday. Like Ash mentioned her kids, the tax write-offs. Most people have no idea. My parents went to work. The taxes got taken out of their paycheck before that money came home. They spent the rest of it on us, right? Because kids are expensive. Um, and nobody ever told my parents that they could put us on payroll and have all of the money that we spent be a tax write-off. And in the last 3 months, I've talked to at least a dozen people who have said something like, I've heard about that, but I don't know how to do it. So we have a 60-minute training that walks through exactly how to do that. And then another 13 hours of, and here are all the other things that you were never taught about how to legally, morally, and ethically mitigate your taxes. And then another training on how to transform your relationship with the banks and use the bank's tools for your benefit instead of the bank's profits. Like there's so many fundamental things that we were never taught that people who, when they join our community, get access to life-changing knowledge right out of the gate. And then as we go and grow and develop, there are so many little pieces of knowledge that translate into either more cash flow or more wealth for our family, for our future, right? And so we're kind of on a mission to let people know.
Yeah, I agree. Because we always want to help the next person
Yeah.
to get to their goals and dreams. And like Ryan, hey, just reach out to the person who invited you to this meeting, and they'll definitely get you taken care of. So a lot of people are like, what, you must have read my mind. People are like, okay, I saw the property, I see it. Um, you know, I may have kids or not to help me, but that's okay. But they really are like, people are like stuck on the numbers. But I liked how you kind of walked us through your journey of how did you get here. It didn't happen overnight. It took some time, right? But you made it through. You pushed through. So before you get to the numbers, right? I know we talked about like there's education, how we learn how to do it, right? Because we're not taught how until we get to a certain point. But then you also talked about like rubbing elbows with folks. How important is that to be around people who are actually doing the things that you want to do and actually want to share?
Ash, you want to hit that?
I mean, what I just said on mute was that's all the way important. Being around other people, getting to go to these property tours, getting to just lift the lid off of it all, right? And because it's something we say around this community a lot is you don't know what you don't know. And getting around other people who have that knowledge, we definitely are a product of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if you're new to this community, I would encourage you to spend a lot more time in this community. It will increase your life.
Yeah, and I agree with you because we all have lives, right? Everybody's busy, but what are you busy doing? Or not just saying busy, productive. What are you doing productive to get you closer to your next thing that you want to do. And so I know people like, all right, Keith, I see the word numbers up there. I just got to hear the numbers. So if you don't mind, go ahead and show the numbers, because I know before somebody yells at me or throws something at me.
Absolutely. And Keith, I just want to highlight. So there are probably some people on this call who've done a bunch of real estate investing already. There's some people who never have. And if you never have, then you gotta put yourself in an environment where you get to experience that. And these property tours and working with us is great. But a year ago, Alex is a guy in our community who has a whole bunch more short-term rentals than we do. And he came out skiing and came by and just kind of volunteered for a few hours to do a training at our office. And for us, having a bunch of short-term rentals, but then getting to have a conversation with someone who is at the next level, like, just made a huge difference in terms of, like, there are things at different levels. And so getting to interact with and learn from people who are at the next level that you're moving to just really accelerates the process.
So, so you just brought up a really funny thing. So this is the first time we met,
Yeah.
right? But we both know Alex. And we both know Yas and Scott. So it's really interesting. You're so right about the network and your net worth of people and association that really kind of helps you propel you to the goals that you want to go to. So that is really funny.
Yeah. All right. I know some people are salivating. Let's do the numbers. So I helped my mom negotiate this property. Denver real estate is completely bonkers. And so getting the contract signed, getting all that, like, took a push. We got in, the house was a bit of a mess. So if you know what you're doing, if you have the right contractors, if you know your stuff, then there are scary things. Like, this house had a bit of water damage and a bit of mold. And mold is a trigger word for some people. Asbestos, like, there are things that seem really scary. So we got a $20,000 discount, and it cost about $300 to fix the problem. So when you know how to find that stuff, when you know how to negotiate that stuff, that's worth money. The cleaning up the back house, the auxiliary dwelling unit, the ADU, cleaning that up and setting that up was about $6,000. The main house, we did $24,000 worth of repairs, and then we recycled a bunch of furniture. So this is less expensive. If anyone saw what we did with one of the houses in Parker, setting up a short-term rental of this size could be $25,000. It's also useful to have teammates that are really good at design and finding deals. So it's 24 for the renovation, and that was supposed to put in a bathroom, but ended up doing foundation work, then getting it set up. The monthly note, so the cost of the property is $3,000. So essentially, we're the long-term tenant on this property, and we pay $3,000 for that. The utilities, maintenance, little things average about $600, and we didn't pull the money to set this up from our own checking account. So one of the things that we learn is how to help people get better returns in their retirement accounts, legally, morally, ethically, safely. So when we set up a short-term rental, we borrow the money to get it set up, and we bake the cost of repaying that setup into the financials for the short-term rental. So with the right training, when you know what you're doing, being able to find, put together, and set up a deal can be done without your own money and credit. If you've got your own money and credit, it's faster, right? But it's totally doable over and over and over again when you know what you're doing. So the average monthly cost is $3,900, and our average monthly revenue on this one is $4,800. So as we get into the summer, the revenue will be a bit higher. As we get into next winter, it might come down a little bit, but 2, 3, 4 years from now, we anticipate that the revenues will just, inflation will just continue to go up. But so this one is generating just under $1,000. And one of the things that we love about short-term rentals, you asked this question, and it's better for the property typically, but also we have we have robots doing almost all the work. We haven't found robots to clean yet, but in terms of communicating with guests, we have automated systems. So we frequently will get a review from someone going, the place was great, the host communication was amazing, love the hosts. And we didn't even know that they stayed in our house because we have systems set up to communicate and move people through their whole process. Yeah, so getting a short-term rental set up takes time, effort, and money. And if you have the systems in place, putting the systems in place takes time, effort, and money. But having the systems in place, I don't know, Ash, what dealing with guests on this property is, I mean, it's not an hour a month, right?
No, it's mostly automated. We usually never even communicate directly with the back house guests because it's such a simple unit.
Wow.
So
Go ahead.
people, nobody on the line is going to be able to live the life that they're committed to, earning a salary working for somebody else. Because you're just not going to get paid that much money. But what you can do is develop your knowledge and build your relationships and shift your resources such that you can create setups where for less than an hour a month, you've got $1,000 coming in.
Yeah, and like Nelson, he's like, this is awesome. It's like, how do you set up something like that? You learn that through the education and the
Yeah.
community and just, connecting with people who actually, doing the thing that you want to do. And then how to take yourself to the next level. Because I agree with you. There are some folks who say, I got a couple of properties but they want to take it to the next level. How do you do that? Because at some point, you're right. You do get capped at work. Like, your ceiling, that's all you're going to make, right? And over time, how do you keep the revenues keeps coming in? And if y'all can ever find those robots to clean houses, please let me know, because I definitely
Right.
want to do that. But here's the one thing I just want to make sure people really understood what you kind of laid out. You helped somebody that had a property, had a problem. You know what y'all wanted to do. You had your goals, you had your roadmap, you have your business plan, you have everything set up and, kind of going forward. But then you also help solve the problem with somebody with their retirement funds. But it also helped you to get into a property, to fix up the property, and then the property starts to pay back not only yourselves, but your investors.
Yeah,
Is that fair to say?
that's exactly right.
So you're saying the only thing that's really keeping you from before this was knowing how to do it and plugging in with people to actually move forward.
That's it.
Wow. And then everything else become easy, right?
Yeah, like anything, it's got its challenges, but that's why that's why we lock arms with other people in the community. That's why, right? Like when I was introduced to this community, I thought, cool, I'm going to learn how to do some real estate investing and I'm going to make some money and then I'll be good. And that was a little over 8 years ago. And a little over 8 years from now, I'll still be participating with this community because we continue to up our game. We continue to learn new things. The world shifts, right? Like the economy changes, the market changes, all that stuff changes. But we're part of a really smart group of people who are paying attention. So we keep elevating our game. We also have an opportunity to contribute to other people, which just feels good, Keith.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree. Like, people asking like, they seeing this, it's like, this is amazing. And I know there's some questions like, what's the optimal number of rentals you should have and your time management. And I would just say it just depends on you. Like, what is it that you really want to do? And if, you listen to Ash and Tom's story and how it all came to a point of, you know what, I no longer want to wonder if I can do this. I want to do this. And then y'all took that step forward and you just got plugged in. And everybody's time frame is different, but we're getting close towards the end. And just to remind folks, if there is another meeting afterwards, for some folks who may know that if you want to understand how to get started like Tom and Ash did, it's like, it's not going to just happen. I just want to go ahead and learn and start moving. Then connect with the person who invited you to this meeting you could go to another one or another meeting they may have, but just reach out to the person who invited you here because they actually care about you. And so go ahead and do that for yourself. So Tom, Ashley, I know we're getting close towards the end. I know you probably have a little bit more you want to share. So I'll let you go ahead and finish up that piece.
I think what we have left is thank you.
There it is right there, right on point. So I know a lot of people, there's more people saying, hey, thank you very much. And before we close out, there's probably something, as y'all was kind of going through, the pictures and the mindset, the heart kind of like, thumps a little bit and like, oh man, you know what? There was somebody in my life said something to me that really made me want to move forward. And there's probably in your hearts that you want to share with everybody here. If you don't mind, go ahead and sharing that so we can go ahead and close out.
What you got? What you got, Ash?
I think she's unmuting.
You go. Um, most of the people that we interact with, if you sit down and talk for a little bit, most people are stressed. Most people are just don't feel like they have the money, the time, the resources that they thought they would have. Right? Like I thought by this point in my life I would be in a different place is just such a common thing. And we were taught to be cogs in someone else's machine. That's how we were taught in school. We weren't taught how to live life in a way that generates the sort of money and resources and freedom that we really are committed to. And what I found with this community is the environment that supports learning how to have life really work. So people get freed up from the grind and have the space to be at work in their life on what they're really committed to and making a difference in their family and their community. And this is a place in a group that provides the knowledge and the resources to liberate people. So if you feel financially stressed, if you feel pinched, it's not your fault that you didn't learn how to do the things that you need to do. But now that you know, you got to go learn how to do the things to free yourself. And this is a great, great place to do that.
All right, Ashley, he's home run. He set it up for you.
He did, he does. So I would say to anybody here who's thinking this might be for you, or I can see people in the chat asking about where to get the education, jump on the next meeting, get with the person who invited you. Please don't wait. The only thing that I can say about this point is that I just wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have said yes sooner. So don't hesitate, stay with your momentum, get the training, become a part of the community and the family. We'd love to have you here.
Yeah, I agree. So, hey, thank you for y'all taking out of your busy day to share with us, the process and everything and answering questions, being vulnerable. We really do appreciate that because you didn't have to do that. And I want to thank Scott Buckle and Yaz and the whole team who's putting this together to allow us to be able to know that there is something out there that we can do. We all have those dreams and goals, and that there's somebody out there who's doing it right now. And thank you out of the bottom of my heart for sharing, because you don't know what this may spark in somebody who you may help to solve that problem that they've been searching for. So again, thank you very much. Y'all have a good one. Next Saturday we won't have one because we all going to be together as a community of investors hanging out together. But the following, come to the next one. Hopefully, the ones who in the chat, hopefully we can feature y'all here, to show us what you have done and inspire others to do what we all want to do. So again, thank you everybody, and y'all have an awesome day.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.